the spotlight, hit that light. No cap, no filter, we take flight. Saints on the rise, got that energy. Tune in to our podcast, feel that synergy. New Orleans pride, we never fall. Subscribe to the vibes, we gon' ball. Subscribe, hit that bell, join the hype train. No cap, no filter, we breaking every chain. In the heart of the city, Saints reign supreme. Live the dream, we living it clean. Yo, Bean Camara run that play. Crystal Lava flying, making waves every day. Take some heels, switch it up, always on the go. Cam joining the fans, putting on a show. Doing Mario with time, bringing that heat. Shahid's got the speed, can't accept defeat. Subscribe, hit that bell, join the hype train. No cap, no filter, we breaking every chain. In the heart of the city, Saints reign supreme. Live the dream, we living it clean. So stay tuned. Don't miss this ride with the Saints by side, we take pride.
All right, what up, Who That Nation? This is Marley G, your host for No Cap, No Filter Saints. And we're going to have to go ahead on and get into this. Hold on, let me see. Pick her to remind me tomorrow. Yeah, we're going to have to go ahead on and get into this heartbreaking loss that the Saints had took to the Atlanta Falcons. The records was tied up all time, 55 up. And the Saints just go ahead on and they just wet the bed all over themselves, man. They just wet the bed. And you know, it's kind of like, you know, everything that we all wanted to see. We wanted to see a dog fight. Like, how would this team fare in adversity? You know, well, I ain't gonna say everyone wanted to see this. A lot of people just wanted blowouts throughout the whole season. But I think a lot of people wanted to see, you know, okay, how would this team fare in a dog fight? And for 2 weeks straight, we seen how this team fare in a dog fight. You could bring up injuries. You could bring up players not executing right. You could bring up coaching. But at the end of the day, the final result had turned into a loss. You know, we could have excuses all over the place. I'm starting to call a certain part of this fan base and this Who That Nation that's just trickling down from this Dennis Allen mentality. Coulda, woulda, shoulda, if records. You know, if this wouldn't have happened, if that wouldn't have happened, we could have been 4-0. We should have been 4-0. You know, all of these things. At the end of the day, sometimes you got to come and face reality, look in that mirror, and just accept defeat. The stat that matters the most is wins and losses. I don't care about everything that is saying as far as data, what Derek Carr is producing. I don't care about all the data of the play calling that Dennis Allen is producing. I don't care about the defense holding teams to no touchdowns throughout these games. The stat that matters the most is wins and losses. That's all I care about. The Broncos beat the Jets yesterday, I think 10-9, something like that. 10-7 or something. No, I think it was 10-9. Bo Nix had 60 yards. They still found the way to win. They found the way to win in the Jets' house on a slippery, muddy field. You know, so like at the end of the day, I'm not really worried about, you know, how they lost. Did they lose? You know, now fashion does matter. You know, a lot of people feel like, oh, they'd rather get blown out than to lose a games like this in heartbreaking fashion. But if you're a Saints fan, you know a lot about losing in heartbreaking fashion. This ain't nothing new. This even been going on before the Dennis Allen era. Like, you know, a PI with too much time left on the clock. That been going on since before. But, you know, we got a guest today too. We got Brian, you know. He always usually coming to the show. I'm going to go ahead on and add him in real quick. What up, B? Let me see. I think he got his mic muted. All right. Well, B got his mic muted right now. He going to hop in whenever he ready. Let's look at the chat real quick. All right, we got Jerry G in the building. Jerry said he ready for next Monday night. I respect that. I think everybody ready for that, Jerry. Everybody wants to see this showdown between the Saints defense and Patrick Mahomes. We got Trav 504 says, who that? Let's see. We got Jerry says we beat ourselves. We lost to ourselves. Well, Jerry, I mean, I can understand that. Like, yes, did the Saints beat themselves? Yes, I agree. They beat themselves. But I can also say that the Falcons, they beat themselves in a lot of situations too that game. Like, it was so many situations where I felt like, okay, the Saints playing hot potato with the win, just like the Falcons playing hot potato with the win. You know, the Saints shot themselves in the foot numerous times, but the Falcons shot themselves in the foot numerous times as well, but they still came out with the victory. The Saints ain't take advantage. That's what I think. Let me go ahead on and add B to the stream real quick, y'all. B?
What's good, bro? You can hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
What's good, family?
Yeah, man. Just talking about this heartbreaking loss that the Saints, you know, and the Who That Nation had suffered yesterday. I mean, Saints Twitter just they just going back and forth all the way since this morning, bro. It is 3 o'clock and they still going back and forth on coulda, woulda, shoulda. Like I deem a certain faction of the fan base now coulda, woulda, shoulda, if records, because that's all I see when it comes to excuses. That back pocket that just trickle down from DA onto the players, onto this fan base. But that's just my opinion, man. Like from the defeat yesterday, man, what was your takeaway?
I mean, it's exactly what everybody's saying. The Saints had their opportunities, and for the second week in a row, they couldn't cash in, and that's what bad football teams do. Philadelphia tried everything they could to lose that game, and the Saints still let them win it. Atlanta did everything they could to lose that game, and the Saints still let them win it. And it wasn't just a matter of, I know that a lot of the fan base is saying, well, at some point, the players have to man up and handle their business. Yeah, and at some point, the coaches have to put them in good positions. One hand washes the other in this situation. Yes, Adebo very well could have played better coverage. No question about that. But you know what would have been better? Not putting him in press man coverage when you know Atlanta has no timeouts and they can't stop the clock. So anything you get in front of you, you can run up and tackle. It would have been better for him to play zone and play deep. Let them try to walk the ball up the field, knowing they don't have any timeouts. Let them make the mistake that they've been making all game. But Dennis Allen decided to play press. Paulson Adebo decided he was going to try to, be the hero, and it blew up in their faces. And that's what's happening to the Saints, and that's what bad football teams do. If this wasn't the Saints we was talking about, this was any other team, the entire fan base would be trashing that organization. Because it's the Saints and they love them, they're making excuses. No more excuses in this direction, because this is exactly who we thought they would be. In fact, they're actually a little bit better than I thought they would. I thought they'd be 1-3 at this point.
I had tweeted that I'm going live. I ain't put you up in the post because I didn't think you was gonna jump in this early. So you can go ahead on and retweet it if you can, and just tell people we out here, so that way your followers and supporters could come in the chat. So when I'm starting to ask you questions, they could be here for you.
Oh, I got you, family.
Yeah. But while you doing that, while you about to retweet it, on Saints Twitter is me, and it's a handful of other people who are just viewed as negative Saints fans. So I kind of embrace it now. Like, it is what it is. I can't change nobody's mind and opinion on me. But I just want to go ahead on and start with the positives, man. Like, I don't really believe in moral victories too much, but if you could just take away any positives of this game, what positives would you could say that you've seen from this game that should be able to be a good thing to say going forward?
Well, I love the fact that Chris Olave was showing he's a dog. He can be a number one wide receiver. I love that. He did everything he possibly could to put himself in a position to win that game. When Rashid Shaheed, is getting way more targets than he is at this point. He's doing the contested catches. He's showing his toughness across the middle. If there's anything I could say, Olave wasn't a problem in that game. Alvin being a warrior, coming in with broken ribs and still trying to give it a go and actually performing well. Taysom being who he was, being up there and able to make the plays he did before he got re-injured. So, I mean, there's some plays here in which you can look at and say, you know what, man, the Saints were actually doing well, and these players, were stepping up, doing their best. But then there's a lot to be desired when you look at that game too. Now, defensively, man, there's not a lot you can say other than Marshawn is still great. Paulson has his up and downs, but it's not what we thought it was, man. I mean, the Saints were dropping like flies out there, so the depth was concerning, but at least the young guys they weren't the reason why the game was lost. They're your positives.
Did you see any positives from like the offensive line?
No. because they got whipped for another week in a row. I mean, it felt good when Clint was able to line up and be more physical, but I didn't see the growth that we were expecting. I mean, it seems like it's not that the offensive line was good those first 2 weeks of the season. Maybe they were just playing teams that were incapable of rushing the passer the way they wanted to. Like Dallas got behind early, so to figure you're gonna pin your ears back and come at the Saints would have been stupid, especially with the way they were running the ball. There was no need to throw the ball 40 times that game. What did Derek Carr go? What 11 of 16? Against I'm sorry, what was it? Maybe it was 13 of 19 or something like that against the Cowboys. He didn't have to throw the ball that much. Against the Panthers, I want to say he didn't throw the ball that much. Might have been 23 times or something to that effect. But no, the offensive line didn't play as well as they should against Philadelphia. They got whipped and beaten, literally, to the point to where they were injured. And then, of course, you come back this week and you look at them in Atlanta, basically duplicated what Philly did along the defensive line, to which they were putting pressure up all over the place in the middle of the line. They couldn't stop it, which made Derek Carr rush the ball a lot more than what they had to. And when you can't run the ball to the right side, like could not run the ball to the right side of the field. Why Clint kept calling right hand runs, I never know, man. Considering that they kept getting blown up, but you couldn't run the ball to the right. The offensive line gets no credit for me.
Well, I was pretty much talking about the guys who came in and just finding out they were going to be starting this game. But when it comes to the offensive line, I think they pretty much did well. They damn sure ain't do as good as the Falcons offensive line. I think the Falcons offensive line kept that fully starting defensive line in check all game to me. And it was just malpractice by the offensive coordinator that he didn't keep toting the rock with Bijan and Tyler Algier. Like, that was crazy to me. But you had a tweet that you posted a while back on Twitter, and it's starting to regain traction. And it was something along the lines of Carr and his attempts.
Yeah.
And I think you was talking about his sweet spot is like 23 to 24 attempts, and like anything 30s or above, you don't really like the chances. Can you get back into that tweet?
Yeah, no question, man. Well, what it is that when you really watch Derek Carr and you break down his career, you'll notice that the more he throws the ball, which isn't in this situation, ain't like it's rocket science, but the more he throw the ball, the more he's susceptible to losses because he makes mistakes. When you look at Derek Carr, if he's throwing the ball 30 or more times a game, then this is not one of those times where you look at a stat. Like, let's say if Breeze put up 30 a game, you probably thinking Breeze has about 500 yards, 6 touchdowns, and a winning effort. That's not Derek Carr. Most of the time, you look at him throwing 31 plus passes because they're behind, they're trying to catch up, and he's probably thrown, for a couple of interceptions. Well, the thing you want to do, and that's what Kubiak has done, is basically say, look, the best formula for success, because we understand Derek's limitations, we're not going to put him in a position to go out there and just air it out all game. If we can keep anything that he does 25 and under, the chances of us winning greatly increases. So if Derek Carr throws the ball, lower than 25 times, the chances of the Saints winning is between 65 and 80%. That's a great number. If you pay attention to the first 2 games of the season, that's exactly what happens. One of the games, can't remember which one offhand, but Carolina or Dallas, I believe the pass attempt number was 23. The next game, the pass attempt number was 16, maybe 19 at the most. Either way, both of them are, under 25. Well, the Saints won those 2 games. If you look at Philadelphia, he threw the ball exactly 25 times. The Saints struggled offensively, and they lost that game. If you look at the game yesterday, he threw it over 30 times. Same situation. You lost that game. The sweet spot is simply don't ask Derek Carr to do too much. And the problem with that is that if you have to game manage and baby an 11-year veteran, then you might have been better off going with a rookie.
Me and you watch a lot of battle rap, and me and you both know when you got veterans in the game, like Tay-Rock, he once told somebody that was coming up, I think it was Geechee or Easy or somebody, he said, yeah, man, you ain't been in the game long enough. They're going to love you and they're going to hate you. And it's seeming like it's happening early for Rashid Shaheed and Clint Kubiak. First 2 weeks, they were just, the heroes of the Saints, man. Everybody was just putting that cape on them. Everybody was just loving them. They were saying Clint Kubiak could be the next head coach. Rashid Shaheed is definitely wide receiver 2, possibly wide receiver 1. They name just going around the league. But now everybody's saying, man, Rashid Shaheed is a bum. He lost the game. Clint Kubiak, he didn't used up all his plays in his tool shed and his toolbox, and he ain't got nothing more. Like, what were your takeaways from Clint Kubiak, play calling this game? Because a lot of people felt like these last 2 weeks, it's been very suspect. You know, the Heat and turned into Pete Carmichael out there, and Rashid Shaheed. A lot of people are blaming this game on Rashid Shaheed solely, man. It was Rashid Shaheed and the Depot for the most part.
Well, I'm gonna say this. I'm gonna start with Shaheed first because this is gonna be the easier one to talk about. Well, with Shaheed, sometimes as a player, you do too much, and that's one of them situations. He simply got caught doing way too much in that situation. You know, and the thing about trying to return a punt from the 5 and stuff like that. Sometimes you get caught up into just wanting to be the hero, wanting to make a big play. He had a situation, it messed up. You know, he tried to make up for it later in the game. It just didn't happen. For if you're gonna praise him and who that and high five when he breaking long touchdowns and stuff like that, give him the grace of being able to say, you know what, yeah, that was a stupid play. And yeah, it was almost unforgivable, but at the same time, almost unforgivable is not as being unforgivable. Give that man some grace simply because it's happened once in his career, his young career at that, for for everybody to be like, get him out of here. That's just ridiculous. That's stupidity at its finest right there. Clint Kubiak, on the other hand, I tried to tell him, pump they brakes. Don't get me wrong. I love what I've seen thus far out of 4 weeks. However, I tried to tell people, stop trying to make it seem like this man was just, Jesus in cleats coming to save the day and he was going to be the savior for the Saints. That's not the situation. Pump your brakes on that. Give him time. And not to mention that, but it looks like he's very much of a game plan specific person and not necessarily an in-game adjustments type of coordinator. This is only his second go round at being that. And the last time he was a coordinator, he had his, protection in that regard. So I'm when it comes to Clint Kubiak, I'm not off the train. I've never been solely on the train, but I will say I'd like to see how it progresses moving forward, because for as bad as the offense was yesterday, and for as many times he called a run to the right, realizing he was running to a brick wall, I still like some of the identity of the team. What it seemed like happened is the first time around, I think against Philly, he didn't have Taysom at all. He lost McCoy in that game. It just seemed like the entire structure fell apart at that point because he didn't know how to adjust. Well, this time he had a week to go at it. He gets Taysom back, no McCoy, you lose Taysom. And he had no idea of how to adjust because it seems like he was game plan specific. I'm going to run this game plan with these players, and as long as I have them, everything goes well. That's why you see the Saints busting up Atlanta with Taysom Hill with those runs. But the minute Taysom Hill left the game, he couldn't do anything else afterwards. So it may take him a couple of weeks to get adjusted to the idea of what do I do if I lose players. If you're going to coach like that, man, then you better be better off at in-game adjustments than you are at scripted plays. And that's where I fault Clint Kubiak right now, being a young offensive coordinator, only his second time in the position.
Okay. Yeah, my biggest gripes with Clint Kubiak that game was it was like a 3rd and goal, and we ran the ball with Alvin, knowing we was going to go for it on 4th down. In my head, I think he should have just passed the ball twice. Like, if you're going to go for it on 4th down and you that far away from the end zone, we were like, 7 yards away from the end zone, maybe 6 yards? I think he should have just passed the ball twice. You ain't been getting your tight ends involved. Maybe you could catch them off guard. We kept running to the right, like you say. I don't know why he didn't go on for Waga's side as much. Another gripe I had with him, Olave was eating. Why not keep feeding Olave? Other teams do it with their guys until you can stop them. Like me, I hate when a coach, they see something working and then they try to
get too cute and call something that outcoach themselves. Yeah.
You outcoach yourself and be like, well, he eating, they gonna be focused on him. Let me hit him with this. No, if he eating, keep feeding him. So that's just malpractice on the offensive coordinator, in my opinion. What's another thing? What else he did? Let me see. That's pretty much it. I hated the call that he had for Alvin Kamara on the 3rd down. He didn't get Olave involved much. He didn't run to Fuaga's side as much. I think a lot of people are talking about him, without Taysom Hill. That's starting to be a narrative now. Like, once Taysom Hill go down, it's like he don't have his rabbit's foot. He don't have his snake in the hole. He don't have his Swiss Army knife. And I kept telling everybody, yes, the offense is good when we healthy, but the depth of the offense, what's going to happen when we lose 2 guys? It's inevitable. This is the NFL. And if we dependent on a 35-year-old Taysom Hill, who's kind of like positionless, that says a lot about the offense right there in itself. And the thing about Taysom Hill, you ain't getting no Taysom Hills off of trees. You know, and I said it on Twitter. The Saints gonna feel Taysom Hill retirement like having sex and catching a Charlie horse because this just is crazy how you got to depend on the guy this much. What's your thoughts on the whole Taysom Hill narrative?
Yeah, it's exactly what you said just now, man. It's exactly the idea of it. Just seems too game plan specific. He seems like if he don't have Taysom out there to erase maybe his inability to be creative play caller, and to his credit, I'll say this: maybe we don't know why he chooses the route that he chooses. Maybe it's a Dennis Allen type of thing. Maybe Dennis Allen is like, look, throwing the ball 40 times a game ain't me. That ain't, if you come in here to do that, that ain't gonna happen over here. We want you to throw the, this is what, unless it's necessary, you're not doing that. You're not opening up the playbook. We're going to stay conservative. We're going to stay vanilla. We're going to stay basic. Maybe that's the game plan. I don't know, but it don't seem like that. It seemed like this is one dude that feels like I got a toy. I'm going to use it. I'm going to utilize this all day long. And if it breaks, then I don't know what the hell I'm going to do next. And I don't know what we seeing here because I'm like, you got Alvin Kamara. When you was out there in San Francisco, you had Christian McCaffrey and you had the tight end, Kittle. So you got those two pieces. It seems like without Kittle and without McCaffrey, which is what he had in the offense with Taysom Hill and Alvin Kamara, he can't function. So something is going to have to change because we've already seen that Taysom is going to be in and out the lineup all season. Alvin has bruised ribs right now, or broken ribs, excuse me. So he's going to be, ineffective as he possibly could be. Clint has to figure it out, and he's got to figure it out right now with a quarterback that's losing his own confidence because all of that good momentum he built up, he ain't been talking. He ain't been talking a lot lately.
Yeah, I'm gonna add another guy on the stream. He goes by the name of Randy on Twitter. I'm not sure if you know who this is, B, but he's a guy who be having a lot. He's very opinionated on Twitter, and he be saying what he say on his chest. So I'm gonna go ahead and add him to the stream as well. He'll join in whenever he hit the link. But in the meantime, yeah, B, you could go tell everybody that we live right now. That way your people could jump in and they could have some questions for you. But when I do the little rapid fire and I start asking you questions from the chat, but yeah, Marlon, if you in the chat, just go ahead on and hit that link that I put. I'm gonna let you in, and then I'm gonna close it up for right now. But yeah, B. I wanted to see how this team would look when we face adversity. In these last 2 weeks, we damn sure have faced adversity, and it's looking like the same things from the last year, bro. Like Clint Kubiak, I've been saying it, man. He probably gonna just be the shrimp and the potatoes and Dennis Allen and Derek Carr ramen noodles. Is it better with shrimp and potatoes? Yes, but at the end of the day, it's still ramen noodles, and he can only do so much. But like you say, man, if he ain't got that toy Taysom Hill in, he gonna have to step this game up, bro. And it ain't even much just Taysom Hill. I feel like, man, he gonna have to just get more touches to Olave. Like, get this guy the ball. Like, everybody is saying, it's a narrative that's going around that, he's not that wide receiver one that's the alpha. He don't have a dog mentality. He's kind of been showing that this season so far. So get the playmaker the ball. And this is one of the biggest Olave fans right here, Marlon. I'm gonna go ahead on and add him to the stream right now. What up, Marlon?
What's up, man? You hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you loud and clear. You're on a stream right now with B Battle Rap Bets on Twitter.
What's up, man?
What's good, family?
Yeah. So we were just talking about Olave right now, Marlon. What's your thoughts and takeaway of the game, and how you feel about Olave on this team right now? Like, will he start being a diva, and is it warranted if he do?
I'm trying to think. I think he in that tier. You probably see my tweet this morning. He in that tier. I got about 9 receivers in like an alpha tier, and then I think that he in that next tier. But you do got to remember, like, after this season, he extension eligible. Like, I even seen a tweet with his brother talking about, like, the targets. Like, man, at a certain point, you want to start speeding to 1. Like, I think in our offense, like, we limited at wide receiver. We limited. It's just him and Shaheed and then Kamara. Like, it's not. I can't even count Taysom Hill as a target at this point because he ain't playing. He getting hurt every time he plays. We get no production from the tight ends. The other receivers, they don't matter. So, like, And this offense, he need 10 targets a game if we gonna like do anything on offense. Because like I know you said that Carr, you don't want Carr throwing 30 times a game, but like I don't want Elvin Kamara touching the ball 26 times a game. And it's just like every time you watch them play these games and like you just see the holes that they have like all across the board. Like you over relying on the 34-year-old Taysom Hill. You over reliant on Elvin Kamara. Like he looked really good this year. I'm not one that thought he was washed, but I thought that he was a player that wouldn't be the same. But this year he looks really good. But like we know as Saints fans watching Alvin Kamara play for the last 7, 8 years, we know his body can't take this amount of touches in like a span. Like, and you have nothing behind him with Jamal. Like they tell you everything they want to tell you about Jamal each game, especially the last 2 weeks. Kamara touched the ball about 55, 56 times. I think Jamal got about 8 touches in that span. Like that tell you everything. They don't even play the Jordan Mims kid. Like we just over relying on like 3 weapons, and that's bad. And then you trying to hide the quarterback and hide the line. Like it's just way too many holes on the team, in my opinion.
Nah, that's real, bro. But I knew everything I needed to know about Jamal when they kept Kendra. Cause ain't no way in the world you keep a dude that sneeze and get and miss half a season and think you're gonna keep him on the roster if Jamal is that dude. So I kind of knew when they kept Kendra, Jamal was just like he was around, and I thought at some time they try to give him some carries and because especially with Taysom going down, you would think that with a dude that's 6'2", 6'3", running the ball as big as Jamal is, I think he's like 220, 225, something like that. You think they feed him the ball. They avoid that boy like he's the plague. Like they don't even want him on the field unless Alvin Kamara needs a breather and Taysom Hill ain't on the field. So
Yeah,
that's wild to me. And when it comes to Olave, I think the reason why Olave not getting touches is because everybody and their mama know the Saints got one wide receiving option outside of Olave, and that's Shaheed. So you got to pick your poison. Either you're gonna double Olave or you're gonna double Shaheed. And they're picking a double Olave because that's the best. Physically he's the best wide receiver they have. So you're
yeah,
gonna see Shaheed get like 13 targets and Olave get 8 simply because the coverages is rolling the walls, to Chris. That's why it depth would have mattered this offseason, which the Saints continue to ignore. They burning bridges with guys like Mike. Not that Mike was going to be able to make a huge difference, but guys like Mike and Jimmy, even if they aren't like kind of like Cam Jordan, man. We know Cam has lost it, but the idea of Cam being on the field, he's still, even in name recognition alone, he's still a threat. Jimmy and Mike would have been a threat in name recognition alone just because they stepped on the field. They both of them, 6'3", 6'4", Jimmy 6'7". So I mean, I don't understand what the Saints were thinking because they didn't even try to duplicate it. They went and got A.T. Perry, and he ain't touched the field since preseason. Something ain't right with what's inside of that, man. I don't know what it is, but something ain't right
yeah.
inside that organization.
Some feel off with that. They feel like he getting his injuries came in practice. Like some just don't feel right.
Yeah,
But like I know I'm not even gonna go with the Mike thing, but like I'm looking at guys like Tyler Boyd was a free agent for a while and he signed with Tennessee to be like the third wide receiver. He signed for $4 million. Like that should have been something that the Saints should have been on. Like cause Cedric Wilson, like, come on, man. Cedric
yeah. I'm
Wilson couldn't
surprised they
eat
didn't
with
go for
Tyreek Hill and
Renfro.
Jalen Waddle. Like, you think he gonna eat here?
Yeah, I'm surprised they didn't go for Renfro because Derek been wanting Renfro for the longest time, and they didn't even talk to him.
Yeah. I mean, I mean, like Renfro, he a smaller guy, but at this point, they probably just need him. But like I'm talking about, like Tyler Boyd was like a six that they kept talking about the possession receiver. Tyler Boyd,
Yeah,
6'2" receiver, like going across the middle, he'll make tough catches, he'll block, and like if you want to get a solution to like losing Michael Thomas, you go get something like that. It's not Cedric Wilson. Or
I agree.
you invest into the tight end position. Like I like Kool-Aid. The person I wanted was the guy that Washington drafted. They haven't really used him yet because they got Zach Ertz playing over him, who still I thought he was washed, but like he ain't the same player, but he's still a good player. But like they got to start investing in weapons. Like it can't just be we drafting guys in the 6th round and that's the solution of like sixth round picks, man. If they depth players and you hit on them, you can't just think of them dudes as like, oh no, they're gonna be sure bona fide starters. Like they're not putting enough resources into weapons.
And that's what they've lacked this entire offseason. They kind of looked at it and was like, The only problem we have is P. Carmichael, and as long as we change that, we good. And now we starting to see, they treat the fans like we stupid and we don't know nothing, man. But like everybody and their mama could see that the Saints were lacking depth all along the team, not just on one side of the ball, across the board, and they decided not to address it.
How do y'all feel about the defense, man? The defensive line, they were fully healthy. They were out there. You had everybody uh, going against the Falcons offensive line. They were down 2 starters, but we still ain't really getting no pressure. They had Kirk Cousins back there making a ham sandwich. They had all the time in the world to just complete the passes they was completing, and on top of that, the offensive coordinator only fed the ball to Tyler Algier 8 times and Bijan 7 times, and they were running for like 7 yards a pop. Are y'all worried about the defense, even though we don't really give up anything in the end zone?
I feel like they I said before the season, like talking in like spaces, I was like, I think the Saints defense would be somewhere like as high as 10, no lower than like the 16, no lower than like 15. They'll be somewhere in that range. But like I didn't feel even like the last 2 years, like I haven't felt like they've been an elite defense. They don't get enough pressure with the defensive line. Like it's hit or miss. Like I think Granderson is the best player on the defensive line so far. Chase Young get pressures, but he don't show up on the stat sheet. The defensive tackle position, like I like Brian Brzee as a prospect, but like he not making the jump as far as like being a complete defensive tackle. Like that's cool, you can get sacks, but like if you're a defensive tackle and you can't play the run, then that's like, I mean, shit. That's half of your job is playing the run. But like I think it's a good defense. They hold for the most part, but we'll never see an elite defense under Dennis Allen again. And some of that got to do with the misses on Peyton Turner and Fauci. Like we talk about the safety position. Every time people bring up the safety opposite of Tyrann, all I can think of is like, if you knew you needed a safety so bad, Brian Branch stared you in the face. Like that dude is an all-pro caliber at nickel, and that's not even his first position. But like this defense would be so much better if they had like Brian Branch playing safety opposite of Tyrann Mathieu. I really think it would be the best secondary in the league. But like I don't know, they just continue to outdo themselves each year. So.
First of all, I was told that the Saints didn't need a Justin Jefferson. I was told like they didn't need a player of that type of caliber. The Brian Branches of the world, that they was going to be able to do it with Jordan Howden and Abram and Will Harris, and they was going to be just fine back there opposite of Honey Badger. Crazy of me to think that the Saints defense could have went from, which I do believe they're elite. I believe they are elite defense. I just think the way they're constructed is poorly constructed. They have too many specialists and not enough ball players. Like, for example, you mentioned Brian Brzee. Good as a rush defensive tackle, bad as a run stopper. You got Boyd, the rookie, Christian Boyd. Good as a run stopper, bad getting up the field. So it's like they got too many specialists. Peyton Turner, just there for vibes. Besides Grando, you're not really getting much of a pass rush on the opposite side to where they're completing sacks instead of it just being pressures. So, I just think the Saints have too many specialists. Chase Young is a pass rush specialist. He's not really a complete defensive end. So, it's too many guys like that that's on the team, and especially on defense. You need somebody who can ball out in every area. You need more Taysom Hill types and less guys like Jawan Johnson, who, pass catcher, yeah, but when it comes to blocking, he can't do it. So I just think the Saints are a poorly constructed team, especially defensively. They are at spots, and once they're able to centralize and kind of get guys that play their position and can do a little bit of everything, then it's going to be better. The versatility is good, but the Saints have specialists and they need ball players. So for me, I think they can be an elite defense. I think they have the ability to be an elite defense, but they have no depth. So when somebody like DeMario doesn't play, it's noticeable. If Badger goes out the game, they don't have somebody that can go up in there and back him up. Alante went out yesterday. You lucky you got Kool-Aid, but Kool-Aid don't play the slot as well as Alante do. Alante is a Pro Bowl slot right now.
Is the jury out on Paulson Adebo? Like him having time with quicker, shiftier wide receivers, and he might just hold and catch the flag, and like a lot of teams is going to attack him. When it came to Dennis Allen, I thought that the matchup would be more in favor of the Saints for Alante Taylor to be on Mooney more often than none and put Adebo on Drake London.
I mean, I watched the game and like it looked like Drake London playing the slot a lot, so Alante got on him a lot. Like a lot of teams don't really travel corners like that no more. It's a few guys traveling, and they not really traveling to the slot. So like even Lattimore at this point in his career, he not really a travel corner. Like they trusted Adebo enough to play sides. So Lattimore spent a lot of time on whoever was on the left, or I think he played the right side. Whoever was on the right, which was Mooney. When Mooney lined up there, they didn't throw that way, but he spent a lot of time on that side, and then Adebo's on the other side and Taylor in the slot. But I think the jury out because like I think I got a PFF account and I looked at like the flags and all that stuff, and Adebo got like 40 targets against him this year, so they gonna try him. He gonna have a lot of chances to make plays on the ball, as far as picks, pass breakups. So he on pace for getting targeted against him 170 times, and he played every game. But like the blueprint out, like we play Kansas City next week. They got Xavier Worthy. I guarantee you they're gonna try to put Xavier Worthy, especially losing all their weapons. They're gonna try to isolate Xavier Worthy on Paulson Debo's side because it's shown that like he can't handle speed at all. And like I was thinking he was gonna make a jump to show that he was like a low end cornerback one, but like so far what I watched this year, he's a cornerback two. There's nothing wrong with being a cornerback two, but like you can't pay him like say if cornerback one money is 15, 16 million and above, like I'm good on it if I was a team.
Nah, I think that was a great assessment, man. I think he's a CB2. I don't necessarily want to say that the jury is out on him because I think it's what he's always been. Like, I don't think the Paulson Adebo we seeing now is any different than what we thought coming out of college or when he got with the team. He's exactly what we thought he was. He's a third-round talent who has first-round potential, but it was always something holding him back. And now we see what it is. He can't stop holding. So I mean, I don't think it's that situation. I think Paulson is what we thought he was, and he gonna stay. He gonna stay like that. When he plays against receivers in which he matches up well with, he gonna win his fair share of battles. When he doesn't, and he gets a mismatch, people gonna take advantage of it because they can. It's not like Marshawn. Marshawn locked down. You good on that side. Paulson is gonna be hit or miss depending on who's the wide receiver that week. And it's to be expected because they ain't a lot of teams out there that can line up two cornerbacks and say you ain't throwing the ball on us. Somebody gonna be a weak link in the chain. And the Saints went from having some of that that whole now we got it on lock on all areas outside and in the slot. That's not it. You're losing too many players to do that. And in the arrogance of a guy like Dennis Allen is to say I can lose somebody and put somebody else in that spot and not fall off. Eventually, talent wins out. Right now, you're succeeding with it. You got rid of a Chauncey, you put Alante in that spot. You had other cornerbacks. You're going to put, Marshawn on one side and Adebo on the other. Now you drafted Kool-Aid and you want to see what he can do. You got some of the young guys you're trying to develop, like the Rico Paytons. Yeah, all of that makes sense. But at some time, Rico Payton can't replace Marshawn because Marshawn is Marshawn for a reason. And that's what Dennis Allen is running into. Paulson going to be Paulson. He going to win his fair share. I know he might be leading the league in holding calls, but I also think he's like one of the top 4 in interceptions as well.
Yeah, he got a lot of plays on the ball.
If he getting targeted like that, he's gonna have a lot of plays. Just like how a lot of people were saying about the DBs up in the Cowboys team. But yeah, man, he's gonna be on pace about 70 flags, 10 picks. All them 70 flags isn't in the crunch time, and that's another thing about Dennis Allen defense. You holding teams to these low scores, you're doing fine, but in crunch time, you can't seal a deal. And this been going back since before Sean. This been going back since before Dennis Allen was the head coach. This been going back since Sean Payton was the head coach. So they're gonna have to figure out how to close games. But Brian, did you by chance get to catch the Alvin Kamara interview after the game?
No, I didn't.
Yeah, man. He was pretty much pissed. He was telling it like it is. He was cursing and everything. He was just, not giving excuses. And he was just basically saying, we got to go out there and figure out how to win on Sundays, man. We're a good team, but we got to show it on Sundays. And, all these excuses and all that, that's pussy. That's basically what he said, And he said it just like that, too. But, what did you feel about the interview if you seen it, Marlon?
I didn't see the interview. I heard like It was a good listen, but I got to listen to it after this though.
Yeah, it was like 2 minutes, man. It's all on NOF page right now. So yeah, bro. Like a lot of people were seeing that, and to me, what I took from that, I think of Dennis Allen. I think that whole having excuses in your back pocket mentality that trickled down to a lot of players in that locker room, and it trickled down to the fan base. And I feel like Alvin, he one of them pick players in that locker room. I don't think he's a yes man. I think he still had that Sean Payton mentality. Like, man, ain't no excuse, man. We got to go out there and win. Like, we expect, good execution and efficiency. Like, I ain't with all this. Like, in these moments, we got to go out there and seal a deal. So, that's what I pretty much took from that. And, when it comes to Dennis Allen, he, just like he said, oh, yeah, man, we should be 4-0. That's why I deem a lot of people in that fan base the coulda, woulda, shoulda, if records. Because having that mentality, to me, that's losing mentality. And to me, what I took from that interview, Alvin Kamara ain't going for that.
I'm glad somebody not, man, because truthfully, you kind of mentioned that this was, happening during the Sean Payton era. The difference between Sean and now is that Sean had an offense that was able to erase a lot of the mistakes we saw defensively. Like, so the best situation for Dennis Allen right now would have been what we saw the first 2 weeks of the season. It would have been the idea of we're going to get so ahead on points that even if you start the mount to come back, it's going to be too late. And the minute that the Saints have to play a close game, that's going to be the difference. I remember we talked a couple of weeks ago, Marlon. You was like, you want to see them when they face adversity. And I told you, I want to see them now that they're being successful, because that's going to determine everything. What happens when you are no longer the team that everybody doesn't care about and you're the team that everybody is looking at? And what we've seen thus far over the last 2 weeks is when the Saints are the favorite to win a game, and when they're looked at as the better team, they play down. They don't play like they have a chip on their shoulder. They play as if they can afford to have a game in which they play Philadelphia. They get 4 turnovers, but they can't score points. You get a team like the Atlanta Falcons, which you give them all the points that they technically scored. I'm sorry, like when you see a team like that, man, that's a bad football team that's masking a lot more that's wrong with them. And it's kind of what we talked about last year. The Saints went last year into believing that they were a better team than what they were. They sat out and said, you know what? We looked at the record or whatever like that. And what were they last year? They were 7-10. They came back and like, oh, we were 7-10 team. That must mean we're good. Okay, well now we're 9-8. Okay, now you're 9-8, but you're behaving like a team that should like that coulda, woulda, shoulda. You talking about? They're a team that believes, well, if we get a break here and a break there, we would have been a playoff team. Nah, that's not how it works. Just like right now, Dennis Allen, same excuses. Well, if a couple of things would have broke our way, we'd be 4-0. I'm not going for that. This has been a staple with Dennis Allen, and as you stated, man, it's the idea of the fans, the team, the organization. They're all starting to behave like the head coach. That's not necessarily a good thing.
Yeah, like I know that's one thing I hate with the argument. We went 9-8, and I'm like, you went 9-8, but you beat. Like I know you bring up the thing they beat like 2 guys or 3 guys that ended up being starters this year. And one of them was Bryce Young. Like, come on. Like
Baker Mayfield was the only full season starter they beat.
Dog fights with him.
Yeah. Baker Mayfield was the only full season starter they beat last year. So, like a lot of people say, oh, we went 9-8. We should have been 11-6 or something like that. I can argue they could have very well been 7-10. Just like the Falcons. The Falcons can say the same thing. They can say, oh, we should be 4-0. Had we scored in the red zone versus the Steelers and had the refs made the right call against the Chiefs, we'd be 4-0 right now. You see how crazy that sounds?
Yeah.
I said this on Twitter. I said, man, imagine you at work and you just talking to a random fan, a random Titans fan or something like that. And he'd be like, yeah, man, shoot, the only reason my team ain't go to the playoffs because we finished 9-8, but the only reason we ain't go because we started 2-0. But at week 3, we had lost, and then we was 2-1, and that was the whole reason that we just lost the playoffs. It don't work like that. It don't work like
See
that.
what I mean?
Other weeks.
This the type of fan base that be pissing me off, bro. This why I'm not gonna lie to you, Maul, bro. You solid, so I do this type of stuff, man. On behalf of you, I do this type of very few interviews that I do. But fans like I think what Lou Too Smooth piss me the hell off because of the excuses. This is not a Dennis Allen loss. This is an Adebo loss. The defense didn't do blah 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 until that man shut the hell up. Stop crying like a little damn broad, bro. I don't make no damn sense for you to be sitting there talking about this is an Adebo loss. So what happened to all the other plays before that Adebo thing? The defense didn't give this up. Well, here's an idea. How about his head coach not call a damn press man coverage play when they were playing zone with 40 seconds left and no timeouts? How about that one? How about instead of telling the Debo to play aggressively, he tell him plays off and come up and make the tackle? That's what they got zone coverages for. Debo was trying to make a play based on man coverage that his coach called with no timeouts left. Does Debo take blame for that? Absolutely. He should have played the route better. But does that mean Dennis Allen could have made a better call? Sure it does. And why are we talking about the one play for Adebo when they had 1,001 plays in which they couldn't get none done offensively? But you saying this isn't a Dennis Allen loss, it's an Adebo loss. Last time I checked, Dennis Allen, the head coach, he got full control. If he felt like something wasn't right, he could have called timeout. The hell out of here with that nonsense, man. Nobody got time for you to be whining and crying like no damn broad. Tell me this is an Adebo loss. Shut your dumb ass up.
What do you feel about that, Marlon?
Oh, I didn't think Dennis. I'm a person that I'm not a fan of Dennis Allen. I looked at the game.
I said what I said, pimp.
I looked at the game like a few ways. Like I looked at particularly the Debo flag, the Shaheed play, and the Carr pick six. Like Carr, I don't think Carr played a bad game, but like that pick six, bro. You are in year 11. The play is not there. Just throw the ball in the dirt. I know we can't. Nobody think the ball just gonna get tipped up like that and you get called for a pick six. But still, you got to just be a smart player. So them the main three plays. I didn't really look at this game and say, "Oh man, we lost to Dennis Allen," but he the head coach. Like that. That's what comes with being the head coach. Like it come with the territory. Like he'll be all right.
I just get tired of the excuses. The defense didn't give up a single. You know why the defense didn't give up a single yard on that last drive after the PI? Because the PI put them in a position to. They didn't have to. Yeah. They didn't have to. Like you making it seem like Adebo was the problem on that play. Yes, he's stupid. He's a goof fucking ball for basically drawing that penalty in that spot. But that's not the play that really did it. What about the Bijan Robinson touchdown that got called back? That one would have been a backbreaker as well. That wasn't on Adebo, now was it? So we're not going to sit here and pretend that everything on that game was on Adebo. No, there were plays to be made. He didn't make them. What if Adebo doesn't get that intercept in a game? You're probably looking at a scoring drive right there for Atlanta because they didn't need much. Everything is not down to one play. Rashid Shaheed, bumblehead ass play. That gave Atlanta points to where the field goal wouldn't have mattered. What about the whole thing that we were just talking about a moment ago when Cuz brought up just now the pick six that Derek Carr threw for an 11-year veteran? We had no play to be made. He was trying to be Superman and underarm, sidearm the shit. Stupid ass play from an 11-year veteran when you could have just simply grounded the ball at that point, got out of the pocket, threw it down the field into out of bounds. Derek Carr sometimes act like he's scared to run out of the pocket. I never get that. Oh, he's scared to throw the ball downfield out of bounds. Like once you escape the pocket, you can pretty much throw the ball anywhere as long as it's across the line of scrimmage. I'm not understanding it. But you want to make it seem to be it's the one play on Adebo. That's what lost the game. Well, I'll be damned. Well, maybe if you didn't give that spot Atlanta 14 points, they wouldn't have won that game anyway. It's pure stupidity, and it's annoying because the fan base is talking just like the coaches, and the coaches has got the players in the locker room doing the same thing. And it's very rare that an Alvin Kamara comes out and says, "Nah, we ain't going for this." It's not going like that. Paulson Adebo messed up. We can all see that. So did Shaheed. So did Derek Carr. Don't tell me this was a Paulson Adebo loss. That's not it. That's what the head coach is there for. You didn't like the coverage to call timeout. If you were scared to call timeout, then you should have just told him grab at the line of scrimmage and get a 5-yard holding penalty versus a 30-yard penalty that flips the field. Stop making excuses for these dudes, bro. Dennis Allen he happened to be a blunder, and there's evidence of that. What are we doing this for?
Yeah, this was a prototypical Dennis Allen loss. Like you don't give up your touchdowns, you get 24 points and you still lose. This ain't happened since 1983, and I think it happened with the Saints, I believe. But it's just a classic Dennis Allen loss. I personally believe a lot of people got dirty hands in this loss. I feel like the D line should have stepped up. I thought them dudes was gonna eat like a statue. Kirk Cousins coming off this injury, he's still looking uncomfortable. I thought them dudes was gonna eat. You know, you
I
got
think it's a complete team loss.
yeah.
It's a loss that
All three
all you can look back. You can whether you want to look back like as like plays that was called or like specific plays. Shaheed was a special teams blunder. The Adebo plays with the pick six, or well, I mean with the flags. That's on the defense. The pick six, like you have like moments you can look back and be like, we lost at all three levels. It's like these few blunders lost us the game at all three levels. Like it's a complete team loss to me.
Yeah,
And, and bingo, you said it perfectly just now. Every fraction of the Saints as an organization lost that game yesterday because one offensive blunder, one defensive blunder, one special teams blunder. That's a complete team loss if I ever heard one.
I didn't even think about it like that. Like, yeah, that really happened. It really happened just like that. But yeah, Pammy, you said a muff punt more than a Debo. I feel like a Debo was kind of costing the team just as much as that one muff punt. Like that muff punt literally happened at the beginning of the game. That was kind of basically our first possession, not offensive possession, but first possession. And on top of that, after that happened, we took the lead. It was like what 14-3, 14-10. We took the lead.
And then Derek Carr give it, and Derek Carr take it away because that's what changed the game right there.
Yeah. And a lot of people saying, oh, if that muff punt wouldn't have happened, we would have still went down there and marched. That was a whole different series that happened. We don't know what would have happened. Like people got to watch the butterfly effect Back to the Future. Like a whole different timeline would have transpired if that would have happened. If he would have caught the ball right there, Raheem Morris would have played a whole different defense because we just so backed up in our end zone. And Clint Kubiak, he probably run a different offense of what he was going to run. We don't know what would have happened. It wouldn't have happened that same way how we marched downfield that first time. Even if it would have bounced out of bounds and it would have been a touchback, I don't think it would have happened that same way. A whole different type of chain of events would have occurred. So we don't know what would have happened, you know. But as far as giving them points, like me, I'm the type of person when before I just got into this emotional maturity that I'm in right now as a fan, because I was the type of I used to blame everything on the team just beat themselves. And I used to find every excuse in the book instead of just looking in the mirror and saying, you know what, we lost this game. So when it comes to giving them team 14 points, I don't really look at it like that no more. I think that's what Matthew Judon was specifically brought for, to wreak havoc and cause some type of turnovers. That dude Anderson, he was all over the field all day. He made a play on the ball and he took it the distance. If that happened for the Saints, and Chase Young did that and popped it up in the air, and Pete Werner ran it in, would have been giving kudos to the Saints defense. If JT Gray would have been a gunner and been in position to capitalize off of a mistake that the Falcons punt return made that they immensely practice all the time, which is to me a muff punt is a gimme because it rarely happens. You know, you got to credit JT Gray for doing that because that's what he practices for, and we will be cheering on that we scored a special team play. I didn't hear nobody saying, oh, yeah, man, we had a gift because we had blocked the Eagles punt. Oh, we had a gift because Tyrann Mathieu caught this pick six. I didn't hear nobody saying we had gifts for that, but that's just me.
That's true, bro. But at the same time, it's also a factor in the game. Anytime when you lose a close game, you pay attention to the players that switched it. It'd be different if the Atlanta Falcons would have took the ball, went down the field, and not scored, 21 points. If they would have been able to score one single possession of their own to where they took the ball from the 25-yard line, marched down the field, got into the end zone. Kind of like the Bijan Robinson's touchdown that got called back. If they were able to do that, you look at that game and you say, you know what, man, a better team won the day. They made the plays they were supposed to make. But when you give the team their points, when Atlanta has proven they could not score on you without your assistance and getting into the end zone, Atlanta won the game, 26 points? You take away the 14 that the Saints gave. That means Atlanta kicked 4 field goals in that game, 12 points. If the Saints take away theirs, they still win that game. So it's like I'm not understanding. I get the point of saying you credit Atlanta, they made the plays, no question. But at the same time, we can't ignore the fact that 2 weeks in a row the Saints have caused 6 turnovers and still can't capitalize.
And that tells me that it's hard for you to win ugly games. You need everything perfect to happen. You need all.
But isn't that the knock on Derek Carr and Dennis Allen, that everything got to be perfect for them to succeed?
Yeah, that's why I said I don't believe in this team to just go far. Like I kept saying we got a good enough defense, and You know, if Clint Kubiak could just, you know, come up in here and make some magic, we got a chance to make the playoffs because the division is weak. Like I still feel that way. I feel like the division is weak. I feel like the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, I don't think they're contenders. I think they're playing well right now. I gotta give them credit. But I don't think they're just contenders. As far as the Falcons, I don't think they're contenders either. I think nobody in this division is contenders. And I think the division is up for grab for any one of these three teams. I'm not even counting the Panthers. But any one of these three teams, I think is up for grabs, and that's their best way to get into the playoffs. And you know what? Like they said, when you get into the playoffs, anything can happen. But for the most part, people bring up exceptions to the rules and very rare occurrences, like the Giants playoff run that they had and made the Super Bowl and won. So if you want to go on that, y'all could go on that. But as far as just winning it all, I'm not sold.
Nah, they ain't, they not no. They don't look like it. They don't look like a team that's capable. And I mean, don't get me wrong, it's only 4 weeks into the season. So, but you can see the team starting to separate themselves at this point. I actually think that Super Bowl talk should be over with right about now, considering that they don't even know how to play, without Taysom Hill in the game. Until they figure out how to play without Taysom, they can't call themselves contender. Most importantly is what you said. The NFC South right now, minus the Carolina Panthers, or that Spider-Man meme when all three Spider-Mans are pointing at each other, because that's exactly what it is. They're the same exact team, just in a different capacity. I mean, when they play Tampa Bay, bro, you gonna like when the Saints playing Tampa Bay after the Chiefs. When they play Tampa Bay, you can easily walk into that and call it a pick'em game. It like you could see the Saints winning that game, and you can see the Bucks winning that game, and not because on any given Sunday, simply because you understand the way these teams are designed, they mirror matches. So I mean, that's why Atlanta. I think this is going to come down exactly what you said. I think all three teams are going to beat up on each other, and it's going to come down to like the last couple of weeks of the season to see who won games outside of that. So that Philadelphia loss could hurt because it was an NFC opponent versus the Atlanta Falcons losing to the Chiefs, who was an AFC opponent. That it could come down to simpler as that.
They lost to the Steelers too. Like
the Steelers. I'm sorry, the Steelers.
In the NFC,
yeah, the Steelers.
They 2-0 in the NFC, but they lost this only against AFC teams, while we lost a division game and a game to the Eagles. So
right, and that, I think that's how, if the Saints don't make the playoffs and they're in a position to, then I think that's how they lose it. It could be everybody in the division ends up 9-8 all over again, and the Saints get put out of the playoffs simply because they lost to the Eagles instead of losing to the Chiefs. So it's crazy. But at this point, man, like, I see no way in which the Saints could beat the Chiefs. I ain't see it beforehand. I know I'm not going to see it now, because if Taysom is this hurt to where back-to-back weeks he had to leave, it's not getting better. And most of the team was on IR going into the, not IR, but on the injury report going into the game. So I don't think that's going to be any different this week. I think this week, going against the Chiefs, man, going to be, one of those times when you pray for the best. You just hope you get out of there healthy.
You don't think the Saints could take advantage with no Pacheco, no Rashee Rice, no Hollywood Brown, and the connection between Travis Kelce and Mahomes hasn't been clicking yet?
Oh, it clicked yesterday.
No, I don't think that. I mean, at any given time, like, you know what it is, bro. Like, sometimes we used to say this about the Lakers and stuff like that back in the 2000 era and stuff like that. We see the Lakers, beat a team that was really, really good, like the Spurs, right? And then they go lose to some team that was like bottom of the barrel, like the Washington Wizards or something like that. And they lose like 2-3 games in a row. And everybody would throw their hands in there, like, oh my God, what's wrong with the Lakers? And the Lakers would tell you, man, we bored, but we don't feel like playing right now. We ain't got to worry about really playing ball until like that last month of the season going into the playoffs. And then they would get into the playoffs, and what would they do? 4-4, they'd lose one, like gentleman sweep, and then they'd win again in the championship. This is what the Chiefs are doing right now. They ain't worrying about no regular season. The Chiefs ain't getting paid to give a goddamn about the regular season. They here to win Super Bowls. And when it starts getting time to that last quarter of the season, we'll see the Chiefs playing the ball they're gonna play. I ain't worried about them at all. Do I think the Saints can beat them? I mean, even us, sunshine on a dog ass some days, but I know, man, I don't think it's gonna happen like that. I think the Saints gonna go up and they're gonna get steamrolled, and the Chiefs gonna remember they're the Chiefs.
Oh, what's your score prediction if you had to pick one?
Wait, say it again, fam.
What's your score prediction if you had to pick one? Because I don't think the Chiefs don't really blow out teams at this point.
I was about to say, I don't think it's going to be a blowout. I think it's going to actually be a closer game, but I think the Saints are going to make the mistakes. The Chiefs won't. I think Andy Reid is a hell of a lot better coach.
Every Chiefs game coming down to they just wait for the other team to make the mistake. Like I watched the end of the game yesterday. Justin Herbert is hurt, and they missing 2 tackles. The 4th down call was a really bad play call from Jim Harbaugh at the 2-yard line, and he called that bad play. Boom, they miss it. the Chiefs just they cashed in. Like it's like at this
It's like
point, the
watching
Chiefs,
Golden State, bro. It's like you
yeah,
miss that
but
one
the
critical
Chiefs
shot
just
and
waiting
then
on
they
you to
go
make your
loose.
mistake.
Yes,
And like
I
and
completely agree.
in the Saints, like I can't sit up here and go say like you want your team to win. Obviously, you're not rooting for them to lose unless you're in like a tanking situation. But like I can't sit up here and say if as long as the Chiefs got Patrick Mahomes, Andy Reid, Steve Spagnuolo, Travis Kelce, and Chris Jones, I can't say the Saints going up in the Arrowhead and beating them.
Yeah, they in Arrowhead being historically one of the tougher places to play anyway. But I'm gonna just say, man, simply because I trust Andy Reid and Pat Mahomes, I agree. They are Golden State in the on football field, man. It's crazy because all you do is you make one mistake, and before you know it, they can throw a 15, 14 points on you like it was nothing. Like they are elite with that. And at some point, Pat Mahomes gonna remember he's Pat Mahomes, and it could be something as simple as like man, sometimes man, like you're sitting around and you're joking and shit like that, and somebody do something, all of a sudden you realize, oh, you serious? You wasn't playing with me. Okay, cool. Well, okay, let me get serious too. I kind of feel like sometimes that's what the Chiefs do, right? Like it's almost like, man, we just sitting here, we doing, I'm gonna hit you, you gonna hit me, but you start to hit me a little bit harder, and I'm catching on to it. So now I hit you a little bit harder, and now we full on fist fighting because I didn't realize you were serious when you were hitting me. Well, that's the Chief right there. The Chief's gonna be like, you playing? You playing? Oh, you were serious? Okay, here you go. Let me destroy you real quick so you can understand exactly what you asked for. I love the mentality. I wish the Saints had that switch, that button, that aggression. You piss the Hulk off and it turned green. It's a bad day.
Well, as far as the Chiefs go, I think a lot of people underrate their defense and Steve Spagnuolo. Like they really have a good, sound defense, and I think that kind of helped keep them in the games that they were winning. But I really, if I had to pick who will win, I probably would be leaning towards the Chiefs, especially since it's in Arrowhead. But at the end of the day, like I really gotta see, who's gonna be starting for us this game. Like if Taysom Hill is out, I'll probably lean even more the Chiefs' way. And I got to see what other key injuries they have out. So for me, I really got to see the injury report for final prediction.
The Saints had so many players leave the game. It seemed like somebody should have left the Atlanta Falcons Stadium, ran to Academy and bought a whole nother tit. That's how many people was going up in there, man. Like it's crazy. You see one play, Paul Sonadebo leaves the game. You see another play, Tyrann Mathieu leaves the game. You see another play, Cam Jordan leaves the game. It's like, well, goddamn, like how are y'all getting hurt? Because y'all told us going to California and training in 72-degree weather was gonna make y'all a better and healthier team. I ain't seen that yet.
What's y'all logic?
Do you think that's on the training staff? Like, what's your take on that? Because I know some people bring up the training staff. Some people's like, man, they play football. Like, you gonna get hurt
across the league too. Be like, what's up with all the injuries going on this year?
I think both things can be true. Both things can be true. I think where you train at has a lot to do with and how you train. And I also feel like the NFL is getting so soft with making these players train that it's leading to more issues. You're so doing this player safety thing to where you worrying about head injuries. But what you're not noticing is the number of leg injuries and soft tissue injuries are increasing every year because you're so busy focused on trying to take the head element out of the game. When most players will tell you if they played the game, I'd rather you hit me high than hit me low. So you're starting to see a lot of that more. So what's happening now is the angle you have to take and what's to tackle people is leaving you more exposed to have, injuries. If I got to lunge at you to make a tackle, but I have to, stay from the basically have a spot between your chest, your under your neck or whatever like that, and your waistline. That's when I'm trying to hit you. But because the speed of the game is so different, now when I'm lunging at you, I got to extend my leg. Well, what's going to happen if I extend my leg? Well, that's a growing pull right there. If I got to watch because you shifted and I got to cut back, but I can't grab you by your jersey because if I do, there's a horse collar tackle and all this other stuff like that. Well, now how to get you down just made it more difficult. So now I'm stretching out. Oh, that's a hammy right there. It's a turn ankle here. It's like, man, the leg injuries or ACLs and all of that going up. But the head injuries are going down. Good for them. But now you can't walk when you're a fourth-year player. You can't walk now because you didn't have too many lower leg injuries. So it's weird, man. I think it's a little bit of both. I think the training camp environment is soft as hell now, and I think the NFL with this player safety thing, man, is making it easier for players to not have to train, as much as they would. Kendre Miller got injured, basically stretching in practice. That's how he got injured. I shit you not. I'm not saying that to be funny. He got injured stretching. These dudes, ain't seen him since.
Can it
These
be? Can it
dudes.
also be the players
Oh,
themselves too? Like compared to the old heads of the '80s, like all these players just soft, and on top of that, they're getting paid so much money they make business decisions.
I ain't gonna
I,
say a player.
yeah, I'm
Like
about to say I wasn't gonna
I,
go that far. Go ahead,
I
fam.
ain't
Go.
gonna
This
say
is your
I ain't
ball.
gonna call no football players soft. Like they playing because these dudes they way more athletic now than they were back then. So I'm not gonna call them soft. I think it really truthfully go off like what B point was like ever since that CBA in like 2011 or where they took like a lot of the practices out and they don't do the 2-a-days. That's probably why you see more injuries. That's why you see offensive line play like it is. It all got a trickle down effect.
And I agree that across the board, you see the injuries and all of that go up and stuff like that. But I also feel like, man, like I'm, to give him his full credit, even though it's a different sport. LeBron James changed the way people train, man. Like this dude talking about he's spending $1 million a year for a physical trainer and these personal chefs and everybody to create and craft these things, man. And he ain't the only one. Badger, some of these players, you see them early in their career start off with a lot of injuries, and then later in their career, you're like, well, how the hell is he still playing year 12 and year 13? Because he learned how to take care of his body. So I don't think it's just I don't think it's just a soft mentality. I think it's just a lazy mentality. Kendrick Miller ain't got no excuses. Ain't nothing wrong with him, and they not even making him practice like that. That was a decision he made to say, man, I got money. I ain't about to train in the off season. I'll train when I get there.
Yeah. Well, anything else y'all want to talk about the game before I let y'all go? I'm gonna go ahead on and open up the phone lines to anybody else who want to come in before I end the stream. Like y'all got any last thoughts?
Man, I'm just interested to see what happens next, bro. I don't even mean from an in-game experience. I want to see what happens this week at practice. What's coming out of the locker room? How do people feel? Is there some finger pointing starting to go on a little bit up in there, man? Like is the team still together? Because I feel like this season was Dennis Allen's season to make or break. This was going to be the one right here. Either he was going to win the locker room over and become the coach moving forward that everybody wanted, or he was going to end up losing a lot of his vets in the locker room because he felt like all of that rah we together stuff ain't really going, because you see what's happening on the field, but you won't change anything. So I mean, I'm interested to see just the talk coming out of the locker room. When it's game time, everybody gonna suit up. I want to see what's happening before they get there, though.
Yeah, my take was I was just I'm just looking at the schedule and like the players they're gonna take it one game at a time. But like as a fan, you start looking ahead. Like I'm watching Denver. I watched Denver play. The offense sucked. That might be a top 5 defense. Like that game look a little different than it did to me 2 weeks ago. Like that Tampa Bay game, they always have a dogfight with Tampa. Then you play the Chiefs next. Like you got to stop this bleeding. Or like how you talking about with the locker room. Like you can lose the locker room. Like if you lose to the Chiefs and then lose at home to Tampa, and then you lose to Denver on Thursday night, like it got to be some type of
Do,
change if
do
that
y'all
happens.
think y'all think Sean is scheming for the Saints right now?
Of course.
Of
He been
course, man,
scheming.
they
He
looking
been
ahead all the
plotting on
time.
the Saints this the offseason. The minute he got the schedule, where they told him he had to play the Saints, we've been looking at that one. To me, that's the Dennis Allen game right there. That's the game in which Dennis Allen will make or break his reputation in New Orleans. If he wins that game, and let's say the Saints end up like, if he win that game like the Saints beat Dallas, then Dennis Allen gonna get almost like a grace period in which for the next couple of weeks he gonna be able to kind of skate by. If they lose the game after that, he gonna still have a little bit of cachet. If he win the game after that, it's like, oh, I told you about Dennis Allen. He coming. That Sean Payton win changed him. I'm telling it. But if he lose and he lose bad, boy, he'll never get the fan base
'Cause I'm
back after that.
Do
I'm
you know
looking
how
at
many
it.
yards Bo Nix threw for that game that they won?
Man, 60
Probably
yards, bro.
12,
He threw
because
for
that I
60
seen that boy
yards,
didn't have. I think he had like negative yards at one time,
bro.
like -7.
Bro. He threw for 60 yards. Cortland Sutton had 60. 4 other dudes caught the ball for a combined 0 yards. Like it's the craziest stat line ever.
But the only stat that matters.
They got that W.
That's it, man. Like
But yeah,
Derek called.
I was just looking at it like, if you lose to the Chiefs, especially with how this season started, like, man, you started like, nigga, you was the talk of the league through the first 2 weeks. You lose to the Chiefs, and like, if you don't beat Tampa, and somehow Denver beat you, like, man, you just got to just end this experiment. Like, you can't lose 5 straight with how this season started. That's basically what I'm looking at. Like, how they gonna try to
Well, be predicted
mindset
before the
versus.
season. Even if we have 7 wins, depending on how they look Dennis Allen still might be safe. So
Yeah, he's safe. He's safe. If he gets seven, he go because I mean, look at everything that's happened. He can always tell you now. Well, I lost Eric, and I lost Eric for 8 weeks. That's the center of the team right there in the offensive line in which we was trying to rebuild on the fly. So I lost him. I lost Ruiz for a game or two because we don't know how long Ruiz gonna be out. You're trying to break in Penning, who was a lost cause at this point. You got to break in Fuaga at left tackle. I mean, right then and there, just along the offensive line. Look all the excuses he got. I lost Alvin for a while. I lost Taysom for a while. We're still trying to figure out who's going to be our next wide receiver because Cedric is here, but AT wasn't out there, and Bub is still trying to learn it because he's a rookie. I'm like, look at the excuses this man has. I lost DeMario. I lost, Cam is now, getting 2 snaps a game. I'm like, look, this man got excuse after excuse. If he wins 7 games, Mickey Loomis already called the man Vince Lombardi Jr. You just know what he going to be if he wins 7 games this year with all them injuries. And Clint Kubiak breaking in a new offense. And man, Dennis Allen gonna say Mickey gonna repackage that shit, sell it back to everybody for double the price, and tell him, man, look, this year 2 of Clint Kubiak. I bet you we be good this year. Watch what happened. Watch how he repackaged that. If Dennis Allen wins 7 games, I'm telling you, you might as well just start thinking about an extension for him.
You take one thing, that Commanders game looking tougher than I expected it was. So later on in the back end of the season, it's gonna be tough. But that Commanders game, that Rams game, that other Bucks game, and that Green Bay game, looking kind of tough.
What I'm expecting is the Saints are gonna medal. I think they're gonna I think they'll lose against Kansas City. They'll lose against Tampa. They're gonna win against Denver and win a game after that. Then they might lose a few. It's gonna be like we're gonna win a few, we're gonna lose a few, and I think they're gonna tuggle with that all year long until we look at the end of the schedule and they 7-10, looking to be like, man, if Eric wouldn't have got hurt, we would have been better off.
It's just crazy how you talking about like if Eric wouldn't have got hurt, and like they're gonna sell that to their fan base, and the fan base is like, yeah, maybe we would have been better. Like, at what point is enough evidence enough? But that's just how they operate.
I want to make sure we didn't go outside.
Go ahead on and let you guys go. I know y'all probably got things to do, but B, go ahead on and tell people where they can find you at, and tell them when your next spaces you gonna hold.
Man, they can find me on Twitter at Battle Rap Bets, all one word. And man, the next spaces will probably be tomorrow sometime, so we can get it. I try to give it a day or two after everybody then decompress, so we can talk logically.
Yeah, I still feel like it's gonna be a lot of chaos in that one, but yeah, man, have a nice one. B, thanks for joining the stream.
That's what's up, fam. Salute.
All right, take it, bro.
You want to tell them people where they can find you at on Twitter too, Marlon?
All right, yeah, y'all can find me on Twitter at It's Rainy RAINEY DOE. Just got a lot of tweets about the Saints, watching all the games. Give a lot of thoughts. I get called negative a lot, so if you don't like seeing negativity, just don't follow me or ignore it. But yeah, you can just follow me over there.
Yeah, you can stick around, Rainy, if you want to. I just let B go because he usually be at work when he calling in. He a truck driver. He be on the road, so I don't.
Oh yeah, I was at work too, but I was on break. I work from home, so yeah.
Well, all right. Well, shit. If you want to stick around, if you can, you can. But if you gotta go, you can go.
I got another 5-10 minutes.
Oh, all right.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, man. I'm gonna go ahead on and drop the link down in the chat. I think I seen Jerry. Jerry, if you want to come on in the stream, go ahead on and hit the link. Lou, if you want to come on and give your side of the piece, you could come on and hit the link. It's a couple of other people, Rose City, Pammy Whammy. Y'all go ahead on and hit the link if y'all want to go ahead on and get y'all thoughts off, man, because I know a lot of people feeling like they got a lot to say, bro. And, it's the Saints, bro. It's the team that we hate to love sometimes, when it comes to a loss. But, yeah, man, like we got Kansas City next week, Monday night, prime time, right in front of the holes. We got Patrick Mahomes. They're going to put the camera on Taylor Swift a lot. I feel like we're going to have to go in there. They're going to have to try to beat Patrick Mahomes, Andy Reid, Travis Kelce, Taylor Swift, and the refs.
Yeah, you ain't getting no calls out there.
What up, Jerry G?
What's up?
And I seen you wanted to talk, OG, but I had tried to get these guys talking because they had wanted to join the stream with me before I even started the stream. So
that's all right.
They balls off. So what you got to say about the game, Jerry? Like I know you really hate the Falcons. I know that this loss was really tough on you, bro.
Well, not really. Not really.
It was tough on you, Jerry. Keep it real. You know you hate the Falcons. You did not want to lose this game.
Yeah, yeah.
knew it
I
was tough
know.
on
I
you.
know. I know. I hate losing the game to the Falcons, but the Saints shot themselves in the foot. I mean, the Falcons didn't just beat us; we shot our own self, bruh. That's why we're sitting at 2-2 right now. So, hey, got it. It is what it is, bruh. I'm ready. I'm ready for next Monday night. Because y'all pretty much covered up everything what happened Sunday, so I'm good.
Well, how you feeling about Monday night? Like, do you think we go up in there and we beat them? Are you feeling confident?
I hope so. Because the Chiefs are 4-0 right now, and I don't know, bruh. I'm just gonna keep it real with you, Molly. I'm just gonna keep it real with you, man.
Well, I can tell you one thing, Jerry. If that defensive line that showed up in Atlanta show up in Arrowhead, we definitely not winning this game.
Nah, I just don't see it.
Yeah, you can't like. I
I
know
really can't.
but you can't let like Mahomes like the way we getting pressure or the lack of pressure. You basically like you gonna allow Mahomes, as I told you, like the last game, like Travis Kelce got busy again, and like if you're not getting no pressure, you basically gonna allow them dudes to play backyard football because that's gonna be the first read, especially with Rasheed Rice probably out for the season. Like he gonna be back to throwing the ball to Travis Kelce a lot, and like they defensive line gotta get pressure.
Okay, Marlon, if you was Dennis Allen, what you think should be the best game plan to go in to stop a Kansas City Chiefs in Arrowhead? Like as far as shutting down what they do have, because they don't have Pacheco, they don't have Hollywood, they don't have Rasheed Rice. Like, what you think the best game plan should be to go ahead on and stop Travis Kelce and Patrick Mahomes?
I'm not gonna lie, I might put a corner on him. I might think about putting Lattimore on him.
Okay.
Or even Alante, but like I'm thinking about putting a corner on him.
Okay, what about Worthy?
Make sure your safety's ready to run, because whatever side you're on, you're gonna have to whatever side you're on, you're gonna have like an extra man up top. Especially if it's Kansas City gonna game plan too. They're gonna try to isolate them on the Devos.
Well, I think the safeties did a pretty good job not letting anything go deep these last 2 weeks. When it comes to that Falcons game, I think it was just like the one play where they let Mooney just go right by Adebo, and I think Howden was right there, but I think Kirk Cousins just missed him. Like this was like at the end of the game too, like right before the
it was the play after the PI. They went back to it. Like the thing is, Atlanta went back to that side both straight times. They tried to throw it to the same guy, to the same side on the Debo.
Make a good point right there. Like they really that was literally the game plan. Attack number 29. Like they felt like Mooney was gonna either burn them or it was gonna be a flag. Either way, it was gonna be a good outcome for the Falcons. And when you gotta worry about stuff like that, that's when stuff like that get real frustrating. When you literally got a liability in the secondary, and he's in a contract year, so it's like you can't just bench him or nothing.
Yeah, I like Adebo. I think he a nice player. I just like so far I haven't seen the jump.
Made a dumb mistake. That's all.
Yeah, I haven't seen the jump where I'm like, all right, that's a cornerback one. Like Maul, you probably seen some of my tweets. Like I've been saying I think the Saints should have traded Lattimore last year because it wasn't off his ability. It was about like what I thought of the team. But like Lattimore's still the CB1. He the top guy on the team. It wasn't me saying they should trade Lattimore because they have a Debo. Like it was just that you invested so much in the other corners that like maybe this guy was expendable to help another position. Or get something because you're not that level of team that can have a corner missing time and stuff like that. But
I think if they all in right now and they want to win right now, they gotta keep Lattimore because I don't think we're gonna get much value for him right now. But you
I agree with you, Pam.
early on, but a value probably would have been higher.
Yeah, like I thought the value last year at the deadline, especially after that Jacksonville game, I thought the value, like I thought a team like Detroit would have traded the first for him because like I can make the strong argument that Detroit traded for him last year, they win the Super Bowl. But like the value will never be that high again. So at this point, just let it play out this year and try to see what you can get in the offseason. Because I don't think he's gonna be on the team, bro. The way they operate the cap, is too much stuff to touch.
You always talk about how people are lobbying for Devontae Adams, and you just always kind of shut that theory down. Like, is there any possible trade? I know it's early. A lot of teams kind of want to see more closer to where the deadline is, to where they at before they make such a trade. But is there any trade that you think logically can happen that can help the Saints?
See, the thing with Devontae Adams, it's not I still think Devontae Adams, he probably only got 1 or 2 years left at it. But he probably only got 1 or 2 years left at it. But like, I still think that he a good player. But like, if you go look at his contract, bro, he gets $36 million next year and the year after. Like, the Saints can't take on a contract like that with like how they salary cap set up. They really can't. And then like, you got to look at your team. I don't think if the Saints traded for Devontae Adams, I can't say they'll win the Super Bowl. Like, if we was contenders, how it used to be like between 2017 and 2020, I'm like, fuck it, go trade for Devontae Adams. Like, that's the difference between winning the Super Bowl and not winning the Super Bowl. But I don't think that's not the difference with this team. Like, this ain't that level of team no more.
Well, see, a lot of people feel like this team, like you already say, should be 4-0. A lot of people feel like,
but it didn't happen that way.
Yeah, the injury slowed us down, and
the
only person that we have
didn't have the right mindset. That's all.
Yeah, and the only person that we have significant time that's going to be missed is McCoy. Other than that, everybody else is kind of like, they might play, they might not wait, they might not play. So go all in right now. That's a lot of people's mindset right now, especially with the Super Bowl being in New Orleans, and a lot of these vets, they really don't have no time left. Like, and when it comes to these injuries, like, you see Tyron get injured, you see DeMario get injured, you see Taysom Hill get injured. I think a lot of this got to do with their age. Like, it's starting to catch up with them. Like, if they had these same injuries a couple of years ago, we wouldn't even much be hearing about them being injured, because I just feel like it wouldn't phase their body. But I just think their body is just starting to get accustomed to Mother Nature.
Yeah,
I agree.
But like, I guess that's just like my personal opinion. Like, I've been thinking probably since like the end of 2022. I've been thinking like, bro, this not no team that's about to be competing. Like, you have to have, the only way the Saints would have been competing for anything is if they had like a great draft. Like, if their 2023 draft was good or was really good, then I'd be like, all right, maybe it's different. But like, we looking at the 2023 draft, the second best player from your draft class is Jordan Howden, a backup / third safety. Like, you missed on your second round pick, your third round pick, both of your fourth round picks. I can't really say they missed on what's the guy named Jake Hayner, but like, he's a backup, so he's not playing. But like, you missed on all these picks, so I can't really say they didn't open up a window. Pretty much, that's how I felt. If you want to open up another Super Bowl run with these guys for like one last chance, you had to have a great draft, and they didn't.
Yeah,
well, I think the only thing we could save face for right now is Snake. Like, he's the hope for the future. I think he probably could be like a little Jordan Love type of situation if we just sit back 2 years. I think Carr gonna start another year next year, but by that time, by the time he starts, he's gonna be 26 years old. So that's the only thing.
Depending on how the season go this year, I really do think it should be a competition, because like, I think you have to find out next year if this dude can play. Because I know you've seen some of my tweets. Like, I'm not. If we in a position to draft one of these young quarterbacks in 2026, and like Spencer Rattler, he hasn't played, like, I'm taking that young quarterback on the rookie contract over the 26-year-old. Like, so that's why, like, I'm not the biggest Spencer Rattler fan, but I see the talent. Like, I'm not like just one that's just anointing him. Oh, he the future, but like, I do want to see him get in a situation where he can play next year or have the chance to start, because I want to see if he's really. You need to see if he really if he can be a long-term answer.
Yeah, that makes sense. So that means if we just middle of the pack this year, don't even worry about a quarterback this upcoming draft.
Nah.
Okay.
I'm not really. I'm not a fan of these quarterbacks. I don't think this not really a strong draft, to be honest with you. But like, I like the Milroe kid. I like Cam Ward. Shador, I like him too, but like we not gonna be in that ballpark. And I don't know if I would like. I like him, but I don't like him like that. Like I like Jaden Daniels, like at a certain point. I probably like Milroe like that because I see the talent. Like I see where you can coach him at.
Yeah. If you in the stream right now, you liking the content, go ahead on and hit the follow. Go ahead on and hit the subscribe button, hit the like button. That'll help the channel out. I got the link posted in the chat right now. So if you want to come in and come say a few thoughts, go ahead on and hit the link. I'll bring you in. I'm gonna keep the stream open a little bit longer before I get ready to go to work. So if anybody want to come in and have a few thoughts, go ahead on and hit the link and come let me know, and we could chat it up. Jerry, did you by chance happen to catch the Alvin Kamara interview after the game?
Yeah, I caught some of it, but before I say that, people are tripping about because receiver Shaheed muffed the punt in the end zone, but they're talking about get rid of him. I said, bro, this is why people need to start calming down. Everybody makes a mistake. Everybody is not perfect. We get that. But you can't go around saying, oh, you need to get rid of this player because he fumbled the football. Okay. Shit happens. Move on. You can't sit around and dwell on it. But look at it this way. I would rather be 2-2 than to be no wins and 4 losses. That's all I'm saying.
How you feel about Clint Kubiak these last 2 weeks, Jerry?
The first 2 weeks, I saw some changes, but the last two weeks, not so much. You gotta get that. Gotta fix that. Gotta fix that.
My take on it, I'm gonna have to go in a little bit probably after this, but my take on Kubiak is like, I'm not gonna say like he's definitely an improvement over Pete. Like I think some of it's the personnel, but some of it's like he's not adjusting in the game. Like you can't keep running behind Trevor Penning, man. Like Trevor Penning is reversing back to like who he really is. You can hide it when you're blowing a team out, but like at the end of the day, Trevor Penning gonna eventually show you who he really is. Like you shouldn't be running toss sweeps behind him. Like I wouldn't run a toss sweep anyway on this team. Not with Alvin Kamara. Like he don't have the speed for that. Like you don't have the personnel to at running back to run a toss sweep. So I would say some of the play calling, that was my gripe with him this game, but I didn't think he called a bad game, but then some of that, like, if you're going to throw the ball, you got to get the number one receiver involved. But I think some of the issues really just personnel, like, and I think that's on the scouts and the front office and all that. But I'm gonna have to get out of here, but I'm gonna still listen to the stream, all right?
Exactly, Pam. You
All right,
absolutely
Marlon.
right.
Thanks for your thoughts, man. I was gonna ask you, do you think Mickey
talk
Loomis
to you,
should pay
man.
Alvin Kamara after his performance last game, or do you think he should just let him move on? But
I can answer that question.
all right, go ahead.
It's a tricky slope because at first I was one of those guys that said I don't know if I'll pay Alvin Kamara because I felt like the team on the verge of a rebuild. Like, you know, if we go 7-10 with this roster, we still owe like Brad at this point next year, basically like your 2025 season a wash. You just trying to see what young players you're gonna stick or build with in the future. So it's tricky, but like he's played really good this year where I think he worked the deal. Like I heard that he wanted a Saquon level deal. I don't think he played Saquon level football to get that deal before we started playing the season this year. But like he's played good. Like I wish the Saints could sign him for say 2 years, 22 million a year, or give 2 years, 22 million total, like a 10, 11 million a year. But like I'm not sure if he'll take that. But I wish he could. But one thing I'll say is like if you sign Kamara, I feel like you gotta like move off of Taysom Hill. I don't think Taysom Hill can be on the team going forward after this year, getting 10, 11 million dollars, and Elvin Kamara getting 10, 11 million dollars. Like, it's too many guys on this team that shouldn't be on this team anymore going forward beyond this year. Like, Cam Jordan should not be on this team right now. I know you're Saints legend and all that, but like, I just think the Saints have this like loyalty, and part of this, it's the loyalty to players, and I get it, but like, you got to look at what the player going to do in the future, not what they did in the past. But as of right now, I wish they could sign Kamara to like give him $10 million a year for the next 2 years, if that would work. But like, I don't think Taysom Hill can be on the team. I don't think you can have a 35-year-old Taysom Hill getting $11 million and a 30-year-old AK getting $11 million, if that makes sense.
Yeah, that's a good perspective, man. But I'm gonna go ahead and let you go, Marlon. I know you at work, man. Thanks for coming on to the stream, and you're welcome back anytime, man.
All right, I'll be back, man. Y'all take care.
All right. Yeah, man. That's Rain on Saints Twitter, man. He's very opinionated on Saints Twitter. Like, you know, he don't really follow a lot of the main crowd thoughts. He has his own thoughts. So y'all want to give him a follow on Twitter? He already shouted it out. Go ahead on and follow the boy, man. I'm gonna go ahead on and look up some of these. Look at some of these comments.
Yeah, one of the comments I agree. Pammy, I agree with you on that because people definitely don't know football. People like that, they really don't. They think they look, like Jim Moore said, they think they know, but they don't know, and they never will.
Yeah, 504 Cam says we wasted money on Cam. I love Cam, but his time has passed. Yeah, man, Cam Snaps had a dip, man, and Dennis Adams pretty much said, you know, it's gonna be Carl Granderson and Chase Young moving forth, and I think Cam Jordan will come in on like first down to help stop the run. You know, it's just gonna be certain packages and stuff, but you know, man, we coming to the end of an era, people. Like a lot of these veterans, you know, they getting up in age, and they probably only got a year or two left in their prime. Like they can only do it for so long. You know, nobody can't defeat Mother Nature, and it's getting about that time, bro. And Cam Jordan, he got that bag right before this regress had happened. He just had got that bag. We gave him that extension, and some people were happy because he could be a Saints lifer, but some people were upset because, like Randy just said, it ain't about what you did in the past. It's what you could do for in the future. And that's one thing that the Patriots, that's what they whole mantra for a long time under Bill Belichick. You know, they try to get rid of a player a year early before a year too late. You know, so I mean that's the bullet that you got to bite when it comes to the industry, man.
Exactly. And oh my God, Molly, if you see, I'm talking. I mean, I explained this. Shout out to TJ Jones of the State of the Saints podcast. I was on the call Sunday after the game was over, and I you know I love bashing Falcon fans. You know that. You know I love to do that. That's my DNA. That's what I do as a Saints fan. I love bashing them. But Lord have mercy, they act like when they play the Saints, it's like they actually won a championship or something, like won an actual Super Bowl when they play us. I mean, they out there parading, they hoorahing and all that. I mean, it's like, okay, y'all won, but we just gifted y'all that just like the Eagles did a couple weeks ago. They gifted that game to the Falcons because Saquon Barkley dropped a crucial game-winning touchdown. But then you're gonna turn around and gonna come beat us, and y'all acting like you actually won, dude. Well, I mean, dude. I'm just. I mean, I got some of them that are cool and all that, but all the rest of them are arrogant, as you know what, Molly.
Well, I mean, it's a division game, Jerry. You know,
I get that.
It's bragging rights. We all know if Young Hoku would have missed that kick, everybody would have been dancing, everybody would have been celebrating, everybody would have been on all these Falcons podcasts and talking about them about saying they suck and you know this or that. And when it comes to like you say, giving them the game and how we should be 4-0 and all that, they could say the same thing, Jerry. They could say if they were scoring in the red zone versus Pittsburgh, they would have won that game. They could say if the refs would have called the right play versus the Chiefs, they could have won that game and they could be 4-0. So just like how we could say it, they could say it too. Like me, I don't just look at things from the Saints side. I look at the other side as well, you know, and I feel like we shot ourselves in the foot. Yes, that's true. But they shot themselves in the foot plenty of times. Like there was a lot of mistakes they made as well. But at the end of the day, they won the game. So
Yeah.
That's
But that's all right. That's all. You know what I say? You know what I say? I said that's all right. Let them have their cake and eat it too. I don't care, because the next time we see them again in November, it's gonna be a totally different story. Let them have their little parade. Let them have their little hip hop parade or whatever. We'll see them in November. It ain't gonna be the same when they come to us.
Yeah, Pammy, they got another dude named Tramali Marley or something like that.
Keller.
I think his name Marley Marl too, but my real
Yeah.
name Jamal, but I go by Marl, and a lot of people call me Marley. And I had got
Yeah.
nickname Marley G like coming up, so yeah, I go by Marley G. So
Yeah, that's cool.
that's how that started. But yeah, it's another guy named Tramal Marley Marl.
Yeah, that's Keller. I know who that is.
Yeah. Let's see. 504 Cole said that's why Belichick's got 6 rings. He doesn't hold on to players too long, and he also had a guy by the name of Tom Brady for help. Yeah, man. Tom Brady,
Yeah.
man.
That's all. That's
He
all
also
right, Jeremy.
He also had the refs helping him too, because
Yeah.
they won a few rings
Yeah.
refs.
Yeah.
Uh,
But back to that game Sunday, Molly. I mean, I was in it. I mean, it was like the last 2 minutes of that game in the fourth quarter. Saints had it right there in the bag. All they had to do was put pressure on Cousins and put a stop on that Falcon offense. They would have won the game. But when they called that, oh my God, when they called that penalty on Debo, dude, my facial expression changed completely. I'm telling you, bro. I mean, when it was that pass, I'm like, oh shit, here we go again.
we can look at it on the other side though. When
I
Bijan,
said, Cool better miss that. I said, Cool better miss that kick. He kicked it, and then and my excitement just went. I mean, I just got quiet. I just got quiet completely after that game was over, bro. I said, you know what, fuck it.
I mean, we can look at it both sides though, Jerry. They had more penalties than us, so they shot themselves in the foot a lot. They had a whole touchdown get erased from a penalty. When Bijan caught that screen pass or something like that out the backfield or something, and they called holding on the offensive lineman on Chase Young, which I don't think Chase Young would have even caught Bijan, but you know that was a touchdown wipe away from them, so they can say they shot themselves in the foot a lot too. Had Bijan would have caught that ball and ran that touchdown in, and there wouldn't have been no flag. I think it would have been very tough to overcome right there. We still probably could have won the game, but it would have been much more tougher than what it was. So it's a lot of Falcons fans can say, man, we shot ourselves in the foot. We got to stop doing that. The game shouldn't have been that close. Mm-hmm. So, you know.
504 Cole, I mean, you made up a good point. Look, if you guys go back to that Thursday night game with Dallas and New York, flags were flying every play. I'm like, how many flags y'all gonna be throwing out there? 500? Yeah. I'm talking about when they make a play here, false start. I'm talking about when they make a play here, holding, offside,
I can tell you
personal foul. You name it.
Have your drink and have your smoke ready, Jerry, because they're gonna be calling a whole bunch of flags on the depot when they go to Arrowhead. Mark my words right there.
Oh, you already know.
Brandon Brown out there.
Well, that's the thing, man. You going up to Arrowhead next Monday night, and you already know the Chiefs gonna be in their favor. As long as you got Taylor Swift up there in the booth, that's gonna spell recipe for disaster.
We can play a game. We can play a game when we go to Arrowhead, Jerry. Take a shot every time they put the camera on Taylor Swift, and take a shot every time a depot have a flag.
Man, look, that like I said earlier, that's a recipe for disaster, bro. So you might as well get prepared for it.
Anything else you got left, Jerry? I'm about to go ahead and get ready to end the stream, man. I'm gonna let you close out the stream with the final thoughts.
No, man. I'm good, man. Y'all pretty much covered up everything that had to be covered up. So did the chat. Shout out to Pammy and Snake Bite, 504, Brute Saint, Rose City, everybody in the chat. Much love and all that. I mean, we just covered up everything. I mean, we had our first 4 weeks of Saints football The first 2 weeks was good. I mean, we put up 47 points on Carolina, then we put up 44 on Dallas, and even though we lost by 3 to Philadelphia, and just recently lost by 2 to the Falcons. So, like I said earlier, Molly, I would rather be 2 wins and 2 losses than no wins and 4 losses. So I'm just grateful for that. But I think we're gonna be all right with these next 4 weeks coming up because we got Kansas City, of course, next week. We got Tampa Bay on the 13th. We got to open up Thursday night football in New Orleans versus Sean Payton and the Broncos, and we close out in Los Angeles against the Chargers. So we'll see what happens these next 4 games, man. I mean, since this is the last day of September, we headed to October. So let's see and thank God we needed that extra day to relax and rest up and get ready for next week because these Kansas City Chiefs are 4-0 and they are no pushovers.
All right, Jerry. Well, thanks for calling the stream as always, man. Thanks for all your support.
Anytime, Marlon. You be blessed, my man, and hopefully we'll get things better in the coming weeks ahead.
All right, Jerry.
All right, man. You be blessed, bro.
All right, y'all, man. I'm gonna go ahead on the stream right now. Thanks for everybody who came mess with the kid. Go ahead on and subscribe if you like the content. Hit the like button if you like the content. Yeah, man, it'll help the channel out. And I might go live again tonight. I might do a late night session for the late night birds. You know, I know a lot of people at work around this time, or people just probably getting off of work like for the next 30 minutes or so. So I might go live again tonight. And I might have a special guest on tomorrow night. So y'all stay tuned. But you know, it's on to the next week, and y'all be safe out there, man. Who that?